What's up, guys? Welcome back to Monster Hunter World, and today we are facing up against the high rank Kirin. Now, the high rank Kirin, by the way, this is post commentary, so this was already, recorded and stuff. But the high rank Kirin, it felt a little underwhelming, especially when the first thing you usually fight is the tempered Kirin, and the tempered Kirin was nothing but a pain in the ass for everyone. It was able to one-shot people with certain abilities that the Kirin held with him, and I think that was very unfortunate, but it's a good thing to have difficulties in these Monster Hunter games nowadays, so it was refreshing to see something beat the shit out of you, in a way. And maybe you don't want a challenge, you can also get the easy way out, per se, if you want to fight a low rank Kirin, a high rank one, or even a tempered if you're going balls deep, my brother. You can use the bows, light bow guns. I don't prefer heavy bow guns because they're not as mobile as the two I just said. But you want to get fire-based element bow guns, light bow guns or bows, preferably the Anjanath bow. That worked really well. I've seen someone use it to their best ability, and they killed a tempered Kirin with me under like 10 minutes. It was crazy. So I definitely recommend, if you want an easy way out of the tempered Kirin, per se, use bows and light bow guns and use those fire elements, because the Kirin is weak to fire element based weapons. Now, the Kirin was, I believe, heavily influenced by the Chinese folklore or mythology of a monster, well, not a monster, a creature by the name of Kirin, or Kirin, which is actually with a Q instead of a K, which is pretty funny because, well, it almost sounds the same. The Monster Hunter version, Kirin, has the K in it, while the mythology version has the Q in it. So it's really cool to know little facts about that. Now, it differs from each province of China that you would live in. Some people believe that the Kirin was half human, half horse, like a centaur, or a centaur. And some also believed it was more horse-like, like this appearance you're seeing right now of the Kirin. Some believed that it had an ox tail and one horn, while others believed that it had multiple horns and it had scales, or some believed it had human features, like I said. So it's good to know that Capcom heavily influenced this monster by the mythology of the Kirin, which is with the Q in it. Now, the Kirin has been in Monster Hunter since the beginning, so it's not like this monster is fairly new in world. It's not at all. It's been in the very first Monster Hunter game, and this monster is very familiarized with the people. People can be like, oh yeah, that is the Kirin, and some people are like, the Kirin sucks based on what the gear looks like, or some people can say, wow, this is actually a great monster to fight because he's very sporadic in movement and his attack patterns are unclear sometimes. And you can tell based on how I'm fighting him right now, his attack patterns are pretty sporadic, per se. Now, you can see that I'm using a great sword, and this great sword is phenomenal. Now, the name of this great sword I am using is called the Wyvern Ignition Impact, which that is a phenomenal weapon. It's actually one of the top reigning great swords that is currently in the game of Monster Hunter World on the 2.0 version, or I think it's 2.1 right now. The reason because of it, it has already 1,000 damage, 1,000 plus damage on it, and it's got pure white sharpness. Obviously, if you use the sharpness skill, you can raise that up, but it also has a hidden element, which is fire. I believe it's around the 500 range. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is critical against Kirin because Kirin is weak against fire-based element moves, or weapons, per se. And the way you can unlock that locked fire element is if you have the free element skill, which is a great skill because personally a lot of weapons are usually like blast blight weapons, and they're usually locked. So using the free element skill really helps that out, and plus I really like blast blight, so that's really good to have, especially fighting against a Kirin. I strongly don't recommend using a greatsword against Kirin if you just want an easy way out. You can definitely use anything you want, but I feel like it'd be way easier using a light bowgun or a bow against a Kirin than it is what I'm doing. The reason why I did it because I feel more comfortable and I feel like I can knock off more damage per se, just in a mental sense. I feel like I can get off more damage and I feel more comfortable with a greatsword than I would with a bow or a light bowgun. I don't know, just it feels that way for me. So in this fight, it wasn't too hard to beat the Kirin. I was actually, like I said, I was really shocked when I fought this high rank Kirin. He was not hitting me that hard that much, and I was able to mount him right here and get him down, which actually he's pretty tough to, you know, get him to fall on the ground while you're mounting him and stabbing the shit out of his back. But it's actually really exciting that I beat the Kirin via solo. He's not obviously the hardest monster, but a lot of people say he's a pain in the ass because he's just, like I said, he's sporadic. His movements are crazy sometimes. So as you can see, the point is right here, what I'm trying to do is I want to break that fucking horn. I don't know why, I just want to break that horn. He's giving me a little trouble over here. But there's a reason why I don't like Kirin either, is because his gear design, equipment design looks like, it doesn't look good. I really don't like it. It looks stale, I guess. But you know, people could say, oh, it's definitely unique. It looks, you know, different, of course. But for me, in my sense and opinion, I feel like it's just redundant. The gear looks like crap. It doesn't really look appealing at all, especially for a male figure. More so, it looks more appealing for a female figure in this game. So it's kind of conflicting. It's like you want to keep it for the female aspect, but there's some males that like the fashion sets of Monster Hunter, and they usually wear the headpiece, which looks kind of funky too. A lot of people use currently Wiggler masks and Hula Yaku masks, which it's pretty funny. But I just feel like the Kirin mask is just out of tone. It's so weird to treat an Elder Dragon like that. You'd think when you get an Elder Dragon, you should have menacing gear, or maybe like the gear stands out. But I think Capcom got a little too crazy with the Kirin gear, and it standed out way too much. That's how I felt it was. Its stats are okay from what I'm seeing, but I've never tried attempting to farm a Kirin for its gear. But I definitely don't want to knock off the weapons of the Kirin, because the weapons are actually really good, and they're very good for quick damage, especially when they have that overwhelming thunder element power to them. The weapons are actually really good. It's just the gear. I don't like the gear. And it doesn't really give you a lot of defense either, especially on a high rank. I think maybe it would be on par with, like, at first, my first inference was I thought the Devil Joe was gonna be like almost even to the Xeno'jiiva gear, or it was gonna be like equal to the Xeno'jiiva. I mean, I thought it was gonna be a little bit higher than the Xeno'jiiva gear, and it wasn't. It was actually lower, and I'm like, so you added a new monster and you lowered the armor on it, and it's not as great as Xeno'jiiva gear. But I mean, it's not to the point where it's like crap, you don't want to use it. Definitely not, because it has good skills on it. So it's like, I guess they're doing the right thing, not like making gear so powerful just so quickly. So I mean, the Kirin gear, I mean, it's not a bad set at all. It's just, for me, like I said, it looks wonky. It looks really really rainbowy, I guess you could say. But as you can see, the Kirin was limping away, so I got the Kirin to limp away in less than 10 minutes. And, you know, some people, like I said, they struggle on them. Some people take 20 minutes. Some people take 30. I don't think you should take 30, but I took about like 15 to 16 minutes on this fight. And this was my first attempt at the high rank. And I was like, wow, I'm beating the crap out of him. Especially with this OP weapon of the Great Sword, the Wyvern Ignition Impact, which this is a fully upgraded one, so it's got a lot of damage on it. The first one was, I believe it was called the Wyvern Impact, no, the Wyvern Ignition Steel, that's what it was called. And obviously you want to upgrade to get to the Ignition. So fighting the Kirin overall, it was okay. It was an okay fight. A lot of people say he's tough, but for me, in general, he is not tough at all. You just really got to know the pattern, because his patterns consist of AoE attacking. Sometimes, like, whenever he does the lightning around him, like, he'll do a circle pattern, and the next time he'll do it in the opposite way, where the holes that he didn't fill with the lightning, he'll do it on those sections and stuff. And as you can see, he's sleeping right now, and I want to bonk him on the head, and I finally break his horn. After, like, so many times hitting his face and all that, I finally got to break that fucking horn. And now, he is clearly pissed off at me. He's like, you broke my horn, you come into my place and ruin the whole joint up. Now, like I said, like, the Tempered Kirin was a nightmare. A lot of people consider it as a fucking nightmare. Now, I know there's people like Kanta per me that can definitely exploit this monster, like they did with the Nergigante, with, I believe they were using insect glides, or it was someone. They were using insect glides, and they were using the rocks to mount on them and constantly spam the Nergigante to the point where they were flinching him, and then they would do the same process over and over again. A lot of speedrunners for Monster Hunter use exploits, and they like to overpower their sets. So in a sense, it's for the sole purpose of just, I would say that skill is still implied, but it's more like exploiting and overpowered stuff to get through that speedrun. So I've already seen people speedrun through the Kirin, and it's actually pretty cool. It's not the most impressive thing I've seen, but, you know, people want to get that, you know, that new high score, or maybe that new record, just to be like, hey, you can exploit this monster this way, and it can be easy for you. Now, not everyone can do speedruns, because, well, from what I've seen from Kanta Permi, they utilize a lot of timing and just accuracy. And when they use the longsword, for example, they use a lot of countering moves as well. And the countering moves are very powerful for the longsword. So I was like, God damn. And I've done that before. I just haven't, like, consistently done it. I use it once in a while, and it always works most of the time anyways. Well, always should be, like, all the time. But yeah, I really think this was a good environment for the Kirin, because, like I said, it camouflages the Kirin in a way, and it just feels right in this environment. You know, the Kirin has that beautiful look to it, and it's just majestic ponies and horsies and stuff and all that good stuff. So basically, right about here, I finished the fight around about the 16-minute mark. I think maybe the 15-minute mark I finished this fight. It was a really fun fight, like I said. I just wouldn't farm this monster for its materials, though. Because it's just like, I don't like the set. I just don't like it. It just looks like shite, and I just don't, you know. But I definitely don't take away the aspects for the weapons. I recommend you guys to get those weapons because they're really good. And besides, this is an Elder Dragon. We should be praising it more than that. Like, I know Devil Joe is an Elder Dragon. He's a Brute Wyvern, of course. And Brute goes to the name of the Devil Joe because he is one hell of a brute. Even to the point where he eats his own tail, and they pretty much, if they were partnered together, they'd try to kill each other. They're not very friendly adversaries. Their own. Pickle Joes. And right now, of course, yeah, Blue bounces off on the hind legs. And plus, they are in that powered stage where she or he has all that electricity around her. Or, let's just call it. And you can see, actually, I killed it before the 15-minute mark. So, that's just a quick wrap up of the high rank Kirin. I know there's a low rank one, and I did the low rank one, which funny about that is I believe it was either tempered or it was 2 low rank Kirins, and that was pretty fun. And I did that. I was like, wow, that's a breeze. And then I went to the tempered, and it was kicking everyone's ass. I was like, holy shit. So, you know, like I said, this isn't a boring fight. It's actually really exhilarating because the Kirin has you, like, fucking back pacing, dodging left and right from all these lightning attacks. So it's a good practice on, you know, your eye coordination and your accuracy, also timing. So the Kirin isn't overall a bad monster to fight. It actually trains you up for, you know, bigger monsters as well. So, I think I'm going to play some Monster Hunter today because I've been thinking about it. I was like, you know what, let's go kill us some Devil Joes, because I have killed the Devil Joe and the high rank Devil Joes, and I'm like, damn, this is fun. So anyways, thank you guys for watching me facing up against the high rank Kirin. Obviously, this was post commentary. So until next time, I will see you guys later. Peace.